This is Soul Bomb Sisters. And okay, so we have never done a recap of Married to Medicine, and I do watch Married to Medicine. It has been one of my favorite shows. I hadn't watched it as it started. I kind of went back after the fact and sort of binge watched it and got up to speed. And so definitely by this season, I was a Married to Medicine fan. Okay, let's take a step back. Quad was married to Dr. Greg. Greg and Quad divorced, and Quad fell out with the ladies. I believe they said that she got too big for her britches, more or less, basically because Quad was very popular with the fans. People loved her. She had a great fan base. She was doing shows outside of Married to Medicine. For example, I think she did a show called Sister to Sister, and she was just getting a lot of opportunities, but it caused some division in the group, and the ladies felt that Quad wasn't really being a friend. And then when all her opportunities sort of fell apart, she got divorced and all of that, they kind of dropped her. They all went on a cast trip, and on that trip they asked Quad to leave. And then during the reunion, there was a huge hoopla. Something happened with Quad's relative, and Simone mentioned the occasion that was sort of an unspeakable trauma that happened in Quad's family, and she didn't want that it would be televised, but Simone sort of outed it, and this caused a lot of sympathy for Quad, which I feel was how she was able to get back on the show, because people were very outraged by how Dr. Simone sort of treated her. Dr. Greg was friends with the other men in the show, so when he started dating Sweet Tea and he would bring her to events that they were doing outside of the show because they were real life friends, the ladies got to know her and then started to actively recruit her to come to be on Married to Medicine. So there was a season where Sweet Tea and Quad were both on Married to Medicine, and Quad obviously was no longer married to Greg. She didn't have any specific man, because this is very much so a couple show. Most of the women are married. Well, all of them are married. And so it was actually quite strange to have Quad, Phaedra, two unmarried people, as part of a married couple group show. And Quad's not a doctor, and neither was Phaedra, but I don't know what they were doing, the producers, but they brought these two people on. So this season, Quad got herself a man, a very good looking guy, and they were both on the show, Quad, Phaedra, Sweet Tea. And of course, you know, this is not a very natural thing, because once somebody gets divorced from someone, they're not probably hanging out with that person, especially if it was such an acrimonious divorce as Quad presented it to be, that she had suffered so much trauma in the marriage, and as did Greg say, he suffered a lot of trauma in the marriage. So typically these people that have suffered trauma haven't really resolved the trauma fully, wouldn't really be hanging out with each other. You probably just want to move on, but it happens in reality TV because, you know, the reality is that this platform is a very good platform in terms of financially, but not really good for relationships. So financially, it's a good platform, and a lot of people want to take advantage of this financial platform that they've been given by Bravo, and so they think that they're strong enough for their relationships or their emotions to handle the things that come with it. And sometimes they are, but oftentimes they are not.